I hear men complaining that their wives don't want to have sex with them, and then I see videos like this and can't understand the confusion. You shouldn't be doing the dishes to get laid. You should be washing the dishes because they need to be cleaned.
My wife is using intercourse as a reward for completing chores. I believe my wife is experiencing a phenomenon known as the 7-year itch. We have been married for 7 years and have not encountered any serious issues until recently. Towards the end of 2023, she began to offer intercourse in exchange for small gestures, such as gifts and completing chores. Throughout our marriage, and since becoming an independent adult, I have consistently managed my share of the household responsibilities. Initially, she proposed extraordinary intercourse in return for me doing her share of the chores, which I initially enjoyed. However, this evolved into a system of rewards and punishments based on my actions, such as you did not do X, no intercourse for you, or good, you did this, and we can have intercourse. When I questioned her about this new behavior, she explained that she feels more emotionally connected and aroused when I put extra effort into the relationship. This explanation puzzled me, as I wondered what had changed overnight to prompt this shift. After a few months, I found myself increasingly turned off by this dynamic and began to refuse her advances. Recently, she approached me, suggesting I deserved a reward for completing the chores. I responded, I do not know where you got this idea, but it's becoming excessive. I am not Pavlov's dog to be manipulated with threats or punishments. We need to communicate openly if there's an issue, but this sudden change is absurd. Are you expecting me to beg for intimacy and comply with every demand? It feels as though you're disregarding my contributions to our household and the gestures I've made in the past. Please explain what's going on, because if we're altering every positive aspect of our relationship based on something you've seen elsewhere, our relationship will end prematurely. She left the room in tears and chose to sleep on the couch. Since then, she has been giving me the cold shoulder. It feels as though she has regressed to behaving like a child. I'm perplexed by this abrupt change and wonder, am I the butthole for not wanting to engage in intercourse under these conditions and for addressing her behavior?
There's this claim that if you want to improve your sex life in a union, then as a man, you should take up more housework. Basically, the claim is, a new study suggests men who do their share of the household chores engage in better and more frequent sex with their spouse. In any relationship, the amount of housework is going to mean something different based on the couple's context, based on their own expectations for what each partner should be doing, and their comparison levels of what happens with other couples they know. However, compared with men who reported making an unfair contribution to household chores, those who perceived a fair contribution to household chores engaged in more frequent sex with their partner, and both partners reported their sex being more satisfying. Rather than avoiding chores in the hopes of having more sex, as prior research would imply, men are likely to experience more frequent and satisfying passion for both partners between the sheets when they simply do their fair share. This author offers some pretty decent pointers, claiming, when addressing the topic of house chores, for men reading, think about house chores as linked to sex. Something interesting is, only women can do this. Imagine if men tied anything, and I mean anything as it pertains to their responsibilities in the home, to sex. For example, imagine a man deciding that he'll not be paying bills in a month where he didn't get as much action. How would your typical woman respond to that? At the very least, that woman will find options, like go to work or find another man. At the most, that woman will walk out of that union. Now, as a man, what do you think you should do upon realizing that your woman has tied sex into a reward-based system? If she presented sex as a reward, and she takes a break from it because, say, her emotional needs aren't being met, for example, whatever that means, does he take a break from what he's supposed to be doing for the family?
But nobody tells you about marriage. The brutal truth. A man offers provisions and protection from the moment he says, I do. This is his duty, and he does not deviate, deprive, or withhold it from his partner. It is consistent. A woman offers beauty, loyalty, and sexual exclusivity from the moment she says, I do. This is her duty, and she will deviate from it from time to time, regardless of a man's consistency. Every month, a man pays bills. He does not take a break. Every month, a woman cooks and cleans. She will take breaks. Every day, a man secures his home. He does not take a break. Every day, a woman maintains beauty and health. She will take a break. When a wife turns sex into privilege and withholds it, he does not take a break. When a woman lets herself go and become lazy, he does not take a break. When a woman goes into menopause and no longer wishes to sexually please her man, he does not take a break. When a wife and husband argue and fight and separate, they both may cheat. He does not take a break. A woman completely shuts off access from the time of separation up into divorce. If a man take a break, all will perish. If a man isn't consistent, all will fail. So let's stop questioning men who exercise their options.
What does a man do? When you have children, you always have family. They will always be your priority, your responsibility. And a man provides. And he does it even when he's not appreciated, or respected, or even loved. He simply bears up, and he does it because he's a man.
As per the argument that men completing a greater share of housework often leads to more intimacy in the union, the obvious prediction should then be an increase in the share of housework completed by the man should have a direct relationship with the sexual frequency in a union. The problem is, that's not the case. Research shows that both husbands and wives in couples with more traditional housework arrangements report higher sexual frequency, suggesting the importance of gender display rather than marital exchange for sex between heterosexual married partners. Sexuality is governed by enactments of femininity and masculinity through appropriately gendered performances of household labor that coincide with sexual scripts organizing heterosexual desire. Couples where men participate more in core tasks, work typically done by women, report lower sexual frequency. Similarly, couples where men participate more in non-core, traditionally masculine tasks report higher sexual frequency, suggesting the importance of gender-typed participation in household labor.